two reasons why I started the YouTube channel. Number one, I saw like an influx on YouTube of just meaningless content. I didn't really see.
Things have been good, just kind of watching a lot of white identity extremism occur and not be labeled as such. But otherwise, things are great.
Do black men have more power than black women?
Of course they do.
Why are black people so weak that they allow this to happen?
Well, I wouldn't say the question would be why are black people so weak. The question would be is why is white supremacy so diabolical and savage? Like I got time for that.
Come on here and talk about this Oscar situation that's going viral, where you have the black gay actor Billy Porter, who they're saying turned heads at the Academy Awards, which a lot of people know them as the Oscars, by wearing a tuxedo dress. And what's really disturbing is that Jada Pinkett Smith, and we all know, you know, these celebrities caught up in the establishment, they're of course going to support whatever agenda. But she made social media posts, I believe on Instagram, talking about that's how you steal a runway and how he should get the best dressed woman on the red carpet. Now, obviously this is problematic, but if you guys don't know who Billy Porter is, this is who he is. He is this black man. He stars on the show that comes on FX called Pose. He also starred in the latest season of American Horror Story Apocalypse, and he's also had appearances on Law and Order SVU. That's the first time I saw him, was on an episode of Law and Order SVU in which he played a dance instructor, I believe. And in every one of these shows, he maintains playing the homosexual role because that is what he is. I want to give a big shout out and thanks to my current Patreon supporters, and I want to provide people the opportunity, if you're looking to support the channel, to sign up and become a patron to support the channel. You do have access to exclusive content, so if you would like to support the channel, please sign up, become a patron, and support that way. Also, the Bestie Beta Male t-shirts are available, and you can purchase them if you'd like to. They are available in a multitude of different sizes and colors for both males and females, and the link to where you can get these shirts will also be included in the description box, as well as pinned to the comment section. So thanks to everyone who's a Patreon supporter. If you want to become a supporter of the channel, you can sign up via Patreon, and the link will be in the description box and pinned to the comment sections. And the Dusty Beta Male shirts are available for purchase. Now, the thing of it is we have to look at it the way that it is. There is a concerted effort to turn the black man into the new black woman, okay? And so black male masculinity is basically fading out, and it's not just fading out in the celebrity world, it's fading out in the mainstream world as well. That's why you have a lot of men who only compare themselves to women. They appear to be very, very emotional. They're always now wanting to talk about their feelings. They even talk about having a voice and how the women in the community are not protecting them. So there's right now a deficit in black male masculinity. And this is not just being perpetuated by the media, it's being perpetuated by the people who are willing to engage in these behaviors, one of them being Billy Porter. Now, while he is a gay man, that doesn't really matter. You've had straight men like Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, Kevin Hart, or supposedly, allegedly Tyler Perry. But I mean, people are questioning his whether he's gay or not. But that's besides the question. You commonly see black men being persuaded, and successfully so, to dress up as women, and that is because society at large is comfortable seeing black men in an effeminized position rather than a masculine position. And unfortunately, too many of them are falling into this with rhetoric, with the, not, I won't say the rhetoric, but with the way that they behave on a daily basis. This is why I'm so against the notion of toxic masculinity, because many of the men in our community are not even exhibiting basic masculinity anymore. And so we couldn't even begin to get to toxic masculinity. But anyway, in any event, this story or this Oscar dress is one of the only ones that I've seen since, yesterday when they had the Academy Awards. And I believe the reason for that is because he is sitting here as a Black man. I want you to notice also who his escort is. Billy Porter is playing the role, and he's in the dress. So he's playing the role of the feminine aspect, while the man that he's with is playing the role as the masculine aspect. You don't really see too many white men, even when they are gay, they don't come out and they don't wear dresses, because notice he's wearing the tuxedo, so he's in the masculine position, he's in the position as the man. What I also want to point out is that notice how even when you have interracial dating within the LGBTQ community, it mostly involves Black men and white men. Now, this actually corresponds to what they do when they're heterosexual, and the rate of Black men who are with white women. So this shows a fascination and a fetish with whiteness. But in any event, this is really interesting to me. It is interesting on multifaceted because, again, it's changing things. It's phasing out the masculine Black male and replacing him and making him essentially become the new Black woman. And the reason why this is so successful, because again, you don't really see too many of them pushing back on this. You don't really see too many of them striving to embody masculinity, or when they do try to embody masculinity, they measure it based on how much and how effectively they can belittle, degrade, and debase women, as well as attempting to force some form of submission from women, rather than going out and exerting their dominance on other men, which is generally how, even if you look into the animal kingdom, that's how the male establishes his dominance. It's not by his ability to conquer other women and subjugate women. He usually does that by showing that he is the best man, and he can only do that by dominating other men. So there is definitely something going on. We know that. We know that it's in media. It's in the media. We know that there's chemicals being placed in food. We know that there's estrogen that's being placed in food. There is something called andropause. And andropause is a condition that is similar to menopause in women, except it occurs in men. And what it is it's a decrease. It's a stage in their life where there's a decrease in testosterone and an increase in estrogen, because keep in mind, men have estrogen as well. The main difference really, if you break it down biologically, is the difference is a woman has higher elevated levels of estrogen and significantly lower levels of testosterone, and a man has the exact reverse. He has significantly higher elevated levels of testosterone and lower levels of estrogen. So when they say andropause, what they're basically saying is something that estrogen level starts to increase. Now, what I believe is that somehow they're able to manufacture that in early stages in Black men. That's what it seems like is occurring. Because even aside from them being comfortable with him being comfortable showing up wearing a dress to the Oscars, the mentality that a lot of men in our community is taking on is very feminine and female-like. And this is something that needs to be addressed. I understand that they don't really understand what manhood is. Even if they do, they're having to model that off of the men in the dominant society. But as it is now, the men in the dominant society are not really exhibiting those feminine traits. They're going out of their way to establish the masculine dominant traits. And so this is really interesting when we see the dynamic playing out in our community with regard to the mentality of the men. Because what ends up happening is regardless of what somebody is trying to do, you don't have to follow through on it. So even though you have them pressuring Black male celebrities to effeminize themselves by being in dresses, they don't have to comply with that, just like Dave Chappelle did it. We've all heard Dave Chappelle talk about how he was on the set and he was almost being forced to put on a dress, but he didn't comply. He stood his ground. Now, other people such as Kevin Hart, obviously he complied. You've seen Terry Crews in feminized positions. Again, you've seen Eddie Murphy. How many times have you guys seen Charlie Sheen or George Clooney or some other man within the dominant society who they want to exude masculinity, putting on dresses or being women? Now we know what's his name was. I forgot what his name was. The comedian who died. I forgot who he. I get that he was, but he wasn't seen as a masculine pillar in the community. They don't have their masculine men or the men that they want to exude masculinity putting on dresses and taking on feminine traits. So this is something that the men are going to have to work to reverse. This is why I say they should take social media as an opportunity to grab control of the narrative and do something to combat the multiple pieces of propaganda that's being thrown at them. But, you know, we can't force them to do anything that they don't feel is beneficial to do on their own. And so you guys let me know what you think about this. I definitely think that there's a reason why they're promoting it. And it's the reason they're promoting it is because this is the image of a black man that they like to see, unfortunately. And without much pushback, they're very successful in making this the new image of black men, among other things like the image of violence and sexual assault and pedophilia and homosexuality. But you guys get in the comment section and let me know what you think. Thank you for your support. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and I'll see you in the next one.